There was one when I was young who knew my heart, he knew my sorrow, he held my hand and he led me to trust him. In the safety of your love, I trust your heart and your intentions. Trust you completely. I'm listening intently. You'll guide me through these many shadows. As I grow and as I change, may I love you more deeply. I will lean upon your grace. I will weep because your goodness is unending. The sun, moon and stars shout your name. They give you reverence, and I will do the same. With all my heart, I give you glory. The sun, moon and stars shout your name. They give you reverence, and I will do the same. With all my heart, I give you glory. I want to seek safety of your love. I trust your heart and your intentions. Trust you completely. I'm listening intently. You'll guide me through these many shadows.
Hello, good afternoon. Is my voice clear to all of you? Can you let me know? Okay. So, how is everyone doing today? Everyone doing well? Okay. Since Hitesh Bhai is traveling for a few days, I will be conducting the session on his behalf, right? So, I know that yesterday all of you completed chapter 1 of the book, right? So, today we will be beginning with chapter 2. And before we do that, I request all of you to mention any one point from the chapter 1 that resonated with you the most, that you thought that you learned something new, so that we can have a quick recap before we go to the second chapter. And I can read it out, some of the answers that you shared. So you can share it with everyone so others can also read it. Gursimar sister, can you make the chat to everyone? Right now, I think I'm getting direct messages. Okay, so people are telling that observer and the thinker difference. Yes, that is definitely something new that all of us learned. Then about being in the present moment. That is true. Then thoughts reflect in body. Yeah, yes, the vibrations that a thought emits, it has an impact on the body. That is true. Yes. Any other point? No mind stages urgency, or else we will be destroyed by thinking mind, which is true. We need to create gaps of no mind, like the author said. So when you are replying in the chat, you can see a blue box, right? So over there, you need to select from the drop down everyone in the meeting. Then your answers will be visible to everyone in the meeting. I think currently it's coming to me. Okay. So, okay, just give me a moment. Let me check security. Yeah, Gursimar sister is able to, I think, send to everyone. Then, yeah, I think Raghav brother, Pankaj brother, Naman brother are also saying, yeah, now it's working for everyone. Okay, good. Okay, so today we will be starting with chapter 2. Okay, let me just write the page numbers. So if you are using a hard copy, it will be from page number 27 till page 30 today. And if you are using a PDF, then page number 36 to 40. So I'll share my screen now, and then we will read through the book, and I will also explain it to you. And in the end, we will have some questions, so anyone can feel free to answer the questions. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Okay. So we can start with this. So the title of chapter 2 is Consciousness, the Way Out of Pain. So the first subtopic of this chapter is Create No More Pain in the Present. So the seeker is asking the author a relevant question. What is he telling? So he is telling that nobody's life is entirely free of pain and sorrow. Isn't it a question of learning to live with them rather than trying to avoid them? Right? So it is a very valid question that the seeker has asked. Now let us see what the author is telling us. The author is telling that the greater part of human pain is unnecessary. It is self created as long as the unobserved mind runs your life. So we learned from the first chapter that the mind is actually an instrument which we should be using. But now what has happened? We have become victims of the mind where the mind is using us. So that is the disease. So he is telling that the greater part of human pain is unnecessary. It is self-created as long as the unobserved mind runs your life. The pain that you create now is always some form of non acceptance, some form of unconscious resistance to what is. On the level of thought, the resistance is some form of judgment. On the emotional level, it is some form of negativity. The intensity of the pain depends on the degree of resistance to the present moment. And this in turn depends on how strongly you're identified with your mind. The mind always seeks to deny the now and to escape from it. In other words, the more you are identified with your mind, the more you suffer. Or you may put it like this: the more you are able to honor and accept the now, the more you are free of pain, of suffering, and free from the egoic mind. So the author also told us what ego is. Ego is the false image of the self. So ये वो इमेज है जो आत्मा ने किसके आधार पे क्रिएट किया है? Based on the external things, right? So as long as our mind is associated with the ego, it will always create some form of non-acceptance, some form of resistance to what the reality is. Now, the resistance comes into picture because the mind creates some sort of expectations. Now, when that expectation does not match with the reality, then it creates a resistance. Now, we can observe this when we sit in solitude with our ourselves, then we can see how the mind functions. Why does the mind habitually deny or resist the now? Because it cannot function and remain in control without time, which is past and future. So it perceives the timeless now as threatening. Time and mind are in fact inseparable. So another thing that we get to learn about the mind from these lines is that the mind is heavily dependent on the past and the future. So there used to be a clock in old days. Now I don't think they exist, where the pendulum will oscillate from one end to the other end. So the mind keeps oscillating like the pendulum from the past to the future. It never comes into a stable position. The center position, the present moment, it never stabilizes. It always oscillates between the present and between the past and the future. Imagine the earth devoid of human life, inhabited only by plants and animals. Would it still have a past or a future? Could we still speak of time in any meaningful way? The question, what time is it? Or what's the date today? If anybody were dared to ask it, would be quite meaningless. The oak tree or the eagle would be bemused by such a question. What time? They would ask. Well, of course, it is now. The time is now. What else is there? So it is very true. So time is again a subject that humans are they mostly associate themselves with. You will never find a dog or a cat or any other creature being dependent on time. So for them, it is only now that exists. Yes, we need the mind as well as time to function in this world, but there comes a point where they take over our lives, and this is where dysfunction, pain, and sorrow set in. So, in order to live in this world, we do need time. Let's say we have an appointment with someone, so we obviously need to fix a time for that, right? So we do need time for our daily task, but then we should not get so involved in it that we only live in the past and the future and not in the present, because then it becomes a dysfunctional mind and it gives rise to pain and sorrow. The mind, to ensure that it remains in control, seeks continuously to cover up the present moment with past and future, and so, as the vitality and infinite creative potential of being, which is inseparable from the now, becomes covered up by time, your true nature becomes obscured by the mind. तो when you are not in the present moment, जब आप हमेशा past और future में रहते हो, तो अभी के साथ आपका वो connection टूट जाता है, and as a result you are never able to observe your true nature. An increasingly heavy burden of time has been accumulating in the human mind. All individuals are suffering under this burden, but they also keep adding to it every moment whenever they ignore or deny that precious moment or reduce it to a means of getting to some future moment which only exists in the mind, never in actuality. So, again, if we observe our mind, we will know that it mostly thinks about the past situation, what has happened a long time back. It will contemplate on that, else it will tell itself that I'm going to be happy when a certain event occurs. And when that event occurs, then it will tell itself that I will be happy when another event occurs. So that way, we are just jumping from one scene of life to another, and we are never living in the present moment. We are denying what is right in front of us. The accumulation of time in the collective and individual human mind also holds a vast amount of residual pain from the past. So it is not something that only one individual is doing, it is something that every individual on the planet today is doing. We all are victims of our mind, and we live in the past, we live in the future, and as a result, we are always in a state of pain and sorrow. If you no longer want to create pain for yourself and others, if you no longer want to add to the residue of past pain that still lives inside your mind, no more than is necessary to deal with the practical aspects of your life. So the author is telling that if you want to free yourself from pain, if you want to stop giving pain to others, then what you need to do, you need to not define yourself by time, but only when it is necessary. So for some work related purpose, for your daily day-to-day activities, you use time, but otherwise you be in the present moment. How to stop creating time? Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have, right? So, this is a point where we can all take a moment to think, to understand. For example, let's say today morning, what you had for breakfast, right? So it is a decision that you had taken, let's say at 8 a.m. in the morning when you had your breakfast. Is there any way now that you can go back and change that? The answer is no. So you cannot do that. What decision you have taken in the past is done. It cannot be changed at this moment. What will happen in the future is again something that you cannot control because it simply does not exist at the moment. What exists is now. So the only control that you have is in this moment, in this very second, about the thought that you choose to create. So if you take this moment seriously, if you take the right thought, then your future will again automatically get sorted. Make the now the primary focus of your life because that is the only time when you have control. Whereas before you dwelt in time and paid brief visits to the now, have your dwelling place in the now and pay brief visits to past and future when required to deal with the practical aspects of your life situation. So now, currently, we live in the past and the future, but the author is now telling we need to live in the now and we are allowed to pay uh, brief visits to the past and future when required, but only to deal with the practical aspects of our life situation. Always say yes to the present moment. What could be more futile, more insane than to create inner resistance to something that already is? So it is futile, like he says, to create resistance to something that cannot be changed, right? So the reason is when we are trying to control things, we are usually trying to control those aspects which cannot be controlled. We are trying to control other people, we are trying to control outside situations, but they are never in our control. In life, if anything is in your control, then that is your thought, and that too only in the present moment. If this moment goes away, then you lose control on that part of your life as well. What could be more insane than to oppose life itself, which is now and always now? Surrender to what is. Say yes to life and see how life suddenly starts working for you rather than against you. So when you begin to flow with the tide, then what happens? The journey becomes smooth, it becomes easier. But when you try to resist everything, then it becomes difficult. Now, the seeker is asking the author again a relevant question. He is telling the present moment is sometimes unacceptable, unpleasant, or awful, which is true. Sometimes certain things might happen which is unacceptable, which can be difficult to accept, which might not be good. So let's see what the author says. He is telling that it is as it is, observe the mind, labels it, and how the labeling process, this continuous sitting in judgment, creates pain and unhappiness. By watching the mechanics of the mind, you step out of its resistance patterns and you can then allow the present moment to be. So, we can all check this for ourselves when something happens which does not match with our mental expectations. The first thing that we do is to label the situation. And then what we do, we start creating more thoughts on top of that, right? So the author is suggesting that we need to watch the mind, we need to observe the thinker and observe the patterns that it creates, and then we need to let the present moment be. This will give you a taste of the state of inner freedom from external conditions, the state of your true inner peace. Because when you do this, exercise, then you will be able to understand that you are not your mind. that you are separate from your mind and you always have the choice to create the thought, create your own thought. This will give you a taste of the state of inner freedom from external conditions, the state of true inner peace. Then see what happens and take action if necessary or possible. Accept and then act. So, what we usually do, we label it like the author is telling, and we also start questioning. We say why this is happening, how this is happening, what is happening, all this kind of questions. So we start resisting. We use resistance as the first step, right? But the author is telling that first we need to accept it and then act. So when he's talking about acceptance, it means that we shift our state of mind to solutions. We direct our mind towards solutions. So instead of asking questions which are problem centric, what we need to do, we need to ask questions which are solution centric. For example, let's say the environment. There is so much of pollution that's occurring in the environment right now. And we can ask this question that why is the government not doing anything? Why are people not doing anything? That is a way of thinking. We can do that, right? So what we are doing when we ask this question is we are only resisting it. But if we say, what can I do to make the environment pollution free? How can I contribute in creating a healthier, a greener planet? Then we shift our focus from the problem to the solution. And in that state, your mind will start doing constructive things. So it is an instrument, but I am the owner of that instrument. So I need to know what I am going to do so that I can use it in the right way. Therefore, acceptance is very important. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. So, this is again a very important point because whatever we do in life, every action that we take, it always has a reaction, it always has a consequence. So, whatever we have today, it is a result of our past actions. Therefore, we cannot complain. We need to accept it because it is through our actions that we have chosen it. Always work with it, not against it. Make it your friend and ally, not your enemy. This will miraculously transform your whole life. So the next point is past pain dissolving the pain body. As long as you're able to access the power of the now, every emotional pain that you experience leaves behind a residue of pain that lives on in you. So, when you are resisting it, when you're resisting the present moment, then what is happening? You are unable to experience the power of the now. You are experiencing pain and sorrow, and that becomes a part of you. It merges with the pain from the past, which was already there, and becomes lodged in your mind and body. This, of course, includes the pain you suffered as a child caused by the unconsciousness of the world into which we were born. So we have grown up resisting the present moment, right? We understand that we are souls on a journey. We have lived lives where we have lived with the same thinking pattern that we are doing today. And what we have done is we have only accumulated more pain. We have never dealt with it, right? We have resisted it. We have made it a habit. And all of that pain has become a part of us, right? So that is what the author is referring to as the pain here, the past pain, pain which we have carried on from our journey. This accumulated pain is a negative energy field that occupies your body and mind. If you look on it as an invisible entity in its own right, you are getting quite close to the truth. Is the emotional pain body. It has two modes of being, dormant and active. A pain body may be dormant 9% of the time in a deeply unhappy person, though it may be active up to 100% of the time. Some people live almost entirely through their pain body, while others experience it only in certain situations, such as intimate relationships or situations linked with past loss or abandonment, physical or emotional hurt, and so on. Anything can trigger it, particularly if it resonates with a pain pattern from your past. When it is ready to awaken from its dormant stage, even a thought or an innocent remark made by someone close to you can activate it. So the author is telling that the accumulated pain is a negative energy that occupies your body and your mind. Usually there are two states of it. It is sometimes expressive and sometimes it is dormant. So when something happens in reality, sometimes maybe it can just be a remark or any thought, it can act as a trigger and suddenly we will start feeling those negative emotions, right? So it is there within us because we have not healed it. And sometimes when a trigger appears, we begin to feel those negative emotions and then we wonder, why is this happening? Why am I feeling that way? So that is your dormant pain. That is giving you an indication that yes, now you need to work on it and you need to heal it. Some pain bodies are obnoxious but relatively harmless. For example, like a child who won't stop whining. Others, so he is giving us how this pain expresses itself. He's letting us know what are the various forms of this pain body. So, one example is that of a child who won't stop whining. Others are vicious and destructive monsters, true demons. Some are physically violent, many more are emotionally violent, right? Some will attack people around you or close to you, while others may attack you, their host. Thoughts and feelings you have about your life then become deeply negative and self destructive. Illness and accidents are often created in this way. Some pain bodies drive their host to suicide. So, the pain body is whoever creates negative thought patterns is always the first to experience it, right? So, they are causing themselves harm and they are also causing harm to the other people. So when somebody misbehaves with you, right, from going forward, always remember that they are acting from a place of pain because no negative emotion can come from a place of happiness. That is why what we need to do is to be very compassionate to them because they are unable to be that for themselves. So we have to radiate that compassion for them. They themselves are in pain, and that is why they are radiating the same to the world outside. And hence, we need not take it personally. What happens? We usually take things personally and then we feel bad why this person has done this with me. But it is not about us. That person's journey is completely different from ours. And hence, we need to understand that is my voice audible to everyone? Okay, let me, it's a network issue, so let me reshare the screen. Okay. Can everyone see the screen? Can everyone see the screen? If you can write in the chat box. Okay. So some pain bodies are obnoxious but relatively harmless. For example, like a child who won't stop whining. Others are vicious and destructive monsters, true demons. Some are physically violent, many more are emotionally violent. Some will attack people around you or close to you, while others may attack you, their host. Thoughts and feelings you have about your life then becomes deeply negative and self-destructive. Illnesses and accidents are often created in this way. Some pain bodies drive their host to suicide. So, hence, what we need to do, we need to be compassionate to people. Now, going to the next page. When you thought you knew a person and then you are suddenly confronted with this alien, nasty creature for the first time, you are in for quite a shock. However, it is more important to observe it in yourself than in someone else. So, what the author is suggesting that when we begin our healing journey, it is important that we focus on ourselves and not on others. However, it is more important to observe it in yourself than in someone else. Watch out for any sign of unhappiness in yourself in whatever form. It may be the awakening of pain body. So, when we have complete focus on our own selves, we will be able to identify these patterns. This can take the form of irritation, impatience, a somber mood, a desire to hurt, anger, rage, depression, a need to have some drama in your relationship, and so on. Catch it the moment it awakens from its dormant state. So, what the author is telling that the symptoms can come in the form of irritation, can come in the form of anger, and when it comes, we need not ignore it. What we do in today's world, we ignore it. We say that anger is normal, we say that depression is normal, but that is what we should not be doing. These are indications that our mind needs healing, that we need healing. So let us not ignore the signals going forward, but rather we need to sit down with ourselves and ask ourselves these questions that why am I feeling this way, right? And a good way of putting it into practical application, this knowledge. So for example, let's say someone feels very angry, right? So if you ask yourself, like if you say this statement to yourself again and again, why am I feeling angry? Why is I'm so angry? I'm this and that. Then again, you will feel sad. So what you can do is you can say, how can I be more peaceful? So when you ask that question to yourself, what happens? Then your mind will shift towards the solution, and you will start focusing on things which will make you more peaceful in life. So, asking the right question again is a very important step towards healing. The pain body wants to survive, just like every other entity in existence, and it can only survive if it gets you to unconsciously identify with it. It can then rise up, take you over, become you, and live through you. It needs to get its food through you. It will feed on any experience that resonates with its own kind of energy, anything that creates further pain in whatever form: anger, destructiveness, hatred, grief, emotional drama, violence, and even illness. So the pain body, when it has taken you over, will create a situation in your life that reflects back its own energy frequency for it to feed on. Pain can only feed on pain, pain cannot feed on joy. It finds it quite indigestible. So, pain body likes to associate with pain, which is why you see, even in today's world, most of the things that people kind of associate themselves with pain, with sorrow more than they do with happiness because they are living through their pain body. So what we need to do is we need to identify, we need not let it take control over us. We should not let it live through us. And whenever we create a negative thought, then that's the vibration that we radiate to the world, and similar kind of events starts occurring in our life, right? So in order to change things outside, in order to break free from the pain body, we need to start creating positive thoughts, and we need to create joyful thoughts, because in that space the pain body cannot survive. Pain and joy cannot coexist together. Once the pain body has taken you over, you want more pain. So pain feeds on pain. That is why once the pain body takes you over, you want more pain. You become a victim or a perpetrator. You want to inflict pain or you want to suffer pain or both. So you become self destructive. There isn't really much difference between the two. You are not conscious of this, of course, and will vehemently claim that you do not want pain. But look closely, and you will find that your thinking and behavior are designed to keep the pain going for yourself and others. If you were truly conscious of it, the pattern would dissolve. For to want more pain is insanity, and nobody is consciously insane. So, when we are aware of our thoughts, when we are aware of ourselves in that space, we will not want pain. Otherwise, what happens, since we are not conscious, we just let our mind function on its own. So it goes into a negative thinking pattern. It is always judging others, it is judging the self, it is always mostly focusing on creating waste thoughts and negative thoughts. And as a result, it makes our vital energy come down, right? But if we just become conscious, if we begin to observe our thoughts, and then we will never make the decision to feel that pain, because nobody, like the author says, is consciously insane. So only when we are unconscious is that when we are insane, right? So I think I'll stop here for today. So what we can do next is to, uh, you know, like have the questions. So Gursimar sister, if you can kindly put the questions in the chat box one by one, so that anybody who is willing to answer can answer that, and we can have a short discussion on the same, and then we will continue the remaining tomorrow onwards. Okay, so I'll stop sharing for now. Okay, so the first question that we have in chapter 2, the author suggests whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. What do you feel about this. So this question has subparts. So what do you feel about this? Do you agree with this? Then do you agree or disagree? Can you recall any personal experience where the power to accept helped you transform your life? So anybody who wants to answer can raise their hand and we can unmute the participant. You can also answer in the chat box if you feel comfortable. Do you agree with the author in this statement that whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it? Do you agree with what he says on this point? Okay. So Rajiv brother is telling agree. Madhuri sister is telling agree. Okay. There is one person who has the point. Okay. So has there been any personal experience that you want to state where you accepted the present and it transformed your life? I'll read the question. Can you recall any personal experience where the power to accept helped you transform your life? Anybody want to speak? They can also do that. Rajiv brother, please raise your hand and we can unmute you then. Okay, let me unmute you. Okay, I have asked you to unmute so you can speak
Yeah.
now. Yes. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes. Living in present is good, and I feel that when we be in present, we can feel the pain, and the pain passes away. When we see because everything is now everything is changeable. Not anything is certain that it will happen. You may say that uh, life may always changes. You may say it like that. I am actually missing that word. It is in my uh,
Change is constant, right? Is that what you mean?
no. Life is always
Life is always changing.
changing. Life is always changing. If there is sorrow, it will not continue. After some time, it will go away. If it is good time, it will not continue. Moment is changing from moment to moment and time to time. It
Right.
means, I'm missing that particular word, uh, but I feel that.
Okay. Okay.
If anything, we are sitting in meditation and feel that pain, and when we start observing that, the pain goes away.
Right.
Or sensation is there, or what type of sensation, it may be good, it may be bad. uh, it didn't continue for a long time. It changes from time to time. When we focus on breathing, it comes from left nostril, sometimes from right, and sometimes from both. And
Correct.
it says that life is always changes available, and we
Oh,
have to. Hmm. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you,
thank
Didi.
Thank you, brother, for sharing your views. Now, Renu sister has raised. I'll ask her to unmute.
Yes, I want to say that if we accept the situation as it is, sometimes we feel that past some situation happen, then past pain triggers. So when we accept that it is in the past and we have the right to change what we our situation, and we can control our life, then after just positive self talk we can change the situation as well. The pain goes away very quickly.
Okay. 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 Now, Vipin brother, I have asked you to unmute.
Am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah. Please say, brother.
My video is coming, like not required, right?
Yeah, your video is not coming. It is okay if you are unable to switch it on. No problem. You can share your views with us.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, with this regards this, my experience also. Whenever I see some persons, close relative, some past experiences starts triggering in a reactive manner. But after this section, come to know that it can be accepted and it will go and it will be very worthily effect on your life if you accept it. Second one thing is Sachin brother has given this opportunity for joining this platform in the midst of that Avyakta Murali Adhyayam project. So during that time, what was my thinking was during this short span of time, and this much Murali also has to be studied. Examination is the day after tomorrow, and in between this English, this class also was by. So the thinking, the trigger pattern was: is this will make our studies okay, or this is an additional burden to us? That was the thinking pattern in me when I got this opportunity. But now I come to know that it is so much effective for studying also. When I accept it, and first 2 days I could not fully concentrate. After that, I came to know that this is a very worthy section. It is about our own life, our own charge on our own self, and a lot of simple and very effective way it is going to be. And it's a personal experience, and even today's session is more acceptive, because maybe because of not focused on the previous day, but today I little more focused on this today's section, so I could able to relate much of my life experiences. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother, for sharing your views. Now, I'll unmute Indu sister.
Hello.
Yeah.
I totally agree with this कि जैसे आपने एक्सप्लेन भी किया है कि आई एम चूजन फॉर इट, मतलब हमने पास्ट में कुछ किया है जिसकी वजह से ये कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस हो गए हैं. मैं इसलिए एग्री करती हूँ. मेरे एक पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है. मैंने अपनी हेल्थ का ध्यान नहीं रखा जिस वजह से मुझे कुछ हेल्थ इशू हुए, और इससे एग्री इसलिए भी हूँ, इसको मैंने एक्सेप्ट कर लिया. और एक्सेप्ट करने से ये हुआ कि जो अननेसेसरी पेन हो रहा था कि मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हुआ, तो वो एक्सेप्ट करने से पेन चला गया. तो मैं इससे बिल्कुल एग्री करती हूँ. थैंक यू.
That is very nice. So, have a real example of how the power of acceptance helps us to deal with the problems, that not problems, the challenges that comes in time, and we can shift towards solution. Okay. Thank you, sister. Now I will unmute Rajesh, brother. to share his views.
Thank you, Didi, for giving this opportunity. I mean, how I see it is that, see, acceptance is the only choice. I mean, we can't choose it. This is the only wise way to reality. I mean, I think we have no other option but to accept the situation as it is. But how I see
Brother,
it is
may I
that it is,
request to speak a bit loudly? Your voice is a bit low.
yes, Didi, I have increased the
Yeah,
volume.
now it is. Thank you.
Yeah. So what I feel is that it is founded either on some long-term planning. See, I have accepted that this something wrong, something not in the correct way has happened in the past. Now I realized it, that acceptance, that wisdom in itself is going to be very helpful. Now it is founded on two things. Either it is founded on long-term planning, where I feel how to correct it so that after a certain period, I'm not going to experience the same pain which I've experienced in the past. Or there is another realization that see, I can't make a change. And that realization, if it is there, is more painful because that is not acceptance, that is like giving up, that is like getting surrendered to the situation. So this is how I feel. So the second, the latter realization is more sickening, more weakening than the first one, which is getting strength day by day, uh, well supported by the resolution. So, I mean, the example that is coming to my mind is that Chanakya, when he was humiliated, he felt humiliated in Raj Darbar. So he made a resolution. So he accepted that this was the situation that was to happen. But he worked on it, and after some time, I mean, he was able to change the situation. So had there been some other person in his place, maybe he would have felt that, see, I'm not in a position to make a change. I have to suffer, uh, I mean, the humiliations. I have to, I mean, whenever I recall, I'll have to experience the pains again and again. So, I mean, saying all these things, I mean, this is the example, saying all these things, my question, my query would be that the author says, see, you accept it, I accepted it. But how to understand whether my acceptance is founded on resolution, this acceptance is founded on wisdom, or my acceptance is founded on cowardice, or maybe it's like giving up on the situation. So this is my query, Didi.
Okay, so acceptance does not mean cowardice. Many times we often interpret it that way because that's how the world puts it. But here, what we will do is, in case any situation comes, when we accept it, we will think of it as a way, as the beginning, as the starting point of solution, right? So until and unless I accept the problem, how will I solve it? So, for example, as a child, we all have studied maths, right? So when a problem was given to us, first we would accept the problem and then we will see which equation fits in the problem. Now, if I reject the problem and I say I'm not going to deal with it, then I'll never come to a solution. So here I need to do the same. I accept it because it is more important for me to heal, because I need to heal myself. Nobody is going to do that for me, right? So I accept it. I to start my healing process, and then I frame questions which are solution centric. So what can I do to improvise the situation? That should be my focus. Our focus should not be changing others, because when we do that, because that is something that we have been doing for a very long time, trying to control others, trying to change external situations. And we will only feel sad in doing that, because it will never give us a solution, because they are not in our control. The only thing that is in our control is our own thinking, our own thoughts that we create in the present moment, in this very second. So acceptance is never cowardice, it is always a very brave stand that an individual takes, and it is always the starting point of a solution. Okay. And anybody, so we can move to the second question that we had, and we can close with that. So I'll just read out the second question. What have you understood about the connection between mind and time? Why does our mind resist the now moment? Anybody who wants to answer this? What have you understood about the connection between mind and time? Why does our mind resist the now moment?
Um,
Yeah, sister, please share your views
Om
with us.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
What my understanding is like, as the author has explained, am I audible?
Yeah, your voice is clear.
Okay, it's clear. Okay, so as the author explained that if we imagine the earth devoid of human life and it was only inhabited by plants and animals, then there won't be any such questions. What is the time? So this proves that the creation, the time is a creation of our own mind. That is what I've understood. Um, so that it can hold on to the past and future and cover up the present. Because as the author says, that it cannot function and remain in control without time, which is past and future. So it perceives the timeless now as threatening. So basically, that's what it shows, that it's the creation of our own mind, although it is necessary for our daily tasks, but we shouldn't let it take over our lives. So thank you. I think that's what I've understood.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your views. And okay, so since we have reached the end of our session for today, so we will wrap up for today, and tomorrow we will continue again. So thank you everyone for your time. It was wonderful learning this new things with all of you, and we will meet again tomorrow. Thank you.